Hey, what's up, guys? We got a 2008 6.4 Powerstroke. We got the motor in finally. Got some brand new main bearings, cam bearings, rings. We had to put 2 sleeves in it. Some of the pistons were pretty bad, but see, a lot of people, you'll hear them say, "Oh, well, you can't pull the motor out without lifting the cab, or you can't work on them." Now, this motor is actually pretty simple to pull out. I'll give a few pointers here, but the motor mounts are right there. There's 4 bolts, and you go underneath the frame and you undo them. And what you do, see, undo the motor mounts, hook you a chain from one head to the back over there, and basically seesaw it over the motor, and then lift it up, pull the motor mounts out, and then the motor will drop just a little bit, and that's enough for that to clear. Now, what I will say is whenever you get the when you unhook the motor from the transmission and you undo the torque converter bolts, go ahead, like I said, lift the motor up with the chain, undo these motor mount bolts, and pull the motor mounts out of the truck while the motor's still in. And that'll give you maneuverability to let basically the front of the motor nosedive. The front of the motor will literally nosedive, and then you can come back here to take your fender wells off. You can get your up pipes. You undo your up pipes on both sides. There's the other one in there. And then you come up to the top and you undo your bolts back there. 2 10s, and then you go in there and get those bolts that go back in the back of the turbo. Now, there are gaskets back there. Make sure you don't forget those, or you'll have a crazy exhaust leak. Same thing as a boost leak. And a lot of this stuff, like this stuff up here, you can take off. See them little bolts and brackets? You can fully undress this motor almost in the truck and pull it out. A lot of guys will pull the turbos off, which I pull the motors out with the turbos on and install it with them on. You don't need to lift the cab. You know, and this is all outside too, so you got guys with fancy shops, you know, Snap-on tools, Matco, and they suck. They can't do this kind of work. So once again, like I always said, it's not the tool that makes the person, it's the person that's using the tool. And what I mean by tool is your brain. You got to use your brain. They forgot to teach us to use our brain in school, or to use, you know, to be curious and to be creative. Everybody's living a life that's designed by somebody else. You know, oh, well, you need to do it this way and you need to do it that way. Well, says who? You know, oh, I have to lift a cab because who said? Oh, this other guy? No, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out a way to go around that. So a lot of guys are pretty, the 6.4s are, that's all they say is, oh, you got to pull the motor. You don't got to do that shit. You're looking at it. I got to put the front cover back on. I could have did that out of the truck, but it's the same. It's got a new front main seal going on, rear main seal. It clears. See all that space right in there? But you got to take the little battery trays out, and you'd be surprised how much space that frees up. Put some new glow plugs in. You know, there's like some heat shields and crap that are on the turbo from the factory that you want to take off before you pull it. So other than that, the motor's not that hard to pull. But like I said, when you pull it forward, make sure that because the oil pan down there will hit the cross member. So you want to lift the motor up some, undo the motor mounts, pull the motor mounts completely out. Don't be afraid to lift the motor up and have it kiss the cab. And then you undo that. Then that lets you be able to pivot the motor instead of now it can't pivot because the motor mounts are in. And then whenever you go back in with the motor, what you want to do is put the motor back in and then put the motor mounts on the block, bolt them up to the block after they're in. So it's pretty simple. If you got any questions, leave some comments below. I don't mind helping people out. I've never used a lift on a 6.4, all the 6.4s I've ever done. I've just pulled the motors out of them, and it's actually really not that bad. I mean, the motor has to come out no matter what. If you're changing the motor, you know, or something like that, or rebuilding it, doing head gaskets. You can actually do the head gaskets with the motor in the truck. I've done that too, which I don't recommend that. It's easier just to pull the motor, set the motor down, get you some head gaskets on there. But other than that, it's pretty simple. You know, don't believe everything you hear people saying. You know, so anyways, what I'm talking about is the people that say you got to lift a cab, because it's not true. Well, thanks for watching.